You're a 10 out of 10 in your photographs.
Welcome everybody to Mitch James, uncut, uncensored, no limitations. Let's talk about it all.
Margarita's on. Let's do it.
Margaritas are on. This is going to be freaking exciting. I am excited because we've talked about this for like a year.
Yeah.
That we were going to do this conversation.
Yeah, finally here.
And now I'm like, I've had so many questions planned for so long, and now I'm like, okay, Sharyn, focus. You've got to remember all the questions. So why did you want to do like an uncut interview?
Well, I think firstly, I wanted to do it with you because, you know, we go way back, you know.
Oh.
You've seen me from a little bucket-hatted, skinny, fat, little alcoholic kid.
Grommet.
Grom, perfect word.
Yeah.
All the way up until now. Just, you know, slightly in better shape, slightly better dressed, still a grommet.
I remember the first time you came in. I've actually still got, the card that you wrote me after your first interview. I think it was when your first album came out.
Yeah.
And I've still got the card. It's real cute. But then I remember you came back after you'd been shredding, and we were like, who is that? Who you turned around, and I felt like I just checked out my brother. It was very weird and confronting.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I feel like there's so much to talk about, and like so much has gone on that is probably like of note, and you know, like I feel like you're the right person to do it with. So, yeah.
Also, you knew that I was going to come here and like order mugs.
Yeah, fuck yeah, of course.
It's going to be fun because, and it is a thing, like I think that a lot of people don't know about you is that you, obviously you are like an incredible songwriter and your songs are like very, you know, feelings and stuff, but you are quite a sensitive person.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just wear my heart on my sleeve all the time. Like, you know, there's many sides to me. You know, there's the guy that loves, you know, a Friday night and all of that, and you know, there's the guy that loves rugby just like every other guy, and I get up every Monday at 6 a.m. to watch American football and shit, like, you know, very laddie. But you know, there's also you know, there is a very sensitive side to me, and you know, I like to classify myself as an open book. So, you know, it's the perfect time to show that side.
Yeah. And that, I feel like that is like a thing about you as well. Like I remember we've had interviews when you're going through a breakup, and after the interview, I'm
literally
like, okay,
like a day after.
Like,
yeah.
and we're like in the interview, and I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna cry, and then afterwards, like having to like hug you, and it was
I remember that very
awful.
clearly.
Yeah. So like, how has it been for you having to? Because it's weird to go from, you know, just writing music in kind of your room to then all of a sudden everything's out there, and all of a sudden you must have all this attention that you kind of weren't used to. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like a baptism by fire. Like you know, admittedly, when I like got into this game, like, you know, I was kind of like neglected at school, and like, I guess you'd call it bullied in a lot of ways. And like, I came into this wanting to be like, fuck you to everyone. And it was a very selfish thing, and I wanted to be the man or whatever. And so, you know, when all of the attention first started coming, you know, I was in a very different place in my life. And, you know, I was loving it, you know, I was loving it, you know, getting to play shows and, you know, girls and stuff like that.
I was about to say, I was like, when you're in a different place, because that's the thing, like when you first come into like this world, and I always say that to anyone that first becomes like an announcer, like the first 2 years are like such a crazy adjustment, because all of a sudden there's like people that want to have sex with you, there's drugs, there's parties, there's all this stuff like going on around you. Did you find that all of a sudden girls just wanted to like hook up with you to say they had?
Yeah, I mean, still to this day. But yeah, it was a very interesting time for me, because, you know, I had this angel of a girlfriend coming into when I signed my record deal, and I was a very idealistic person beforehand, and so getting into the game and finding that success, you know, like it's not that the people that I was hanging out with are bad people, but I went into these circles where, you know, I was getting horsed like 3 or 4 times a week, and yeah, and you know, I was turning into this little fat little blob, drinking craft beers like every other day, and yeah, and I was, you know, I was an awful boyfriend to this. She's an angel, and you know, I look back and it's, you know, like I don't regret anything because it's got me to where I am, but I was in such a different place, you know, and like you're saying, you know, the girls are throwing themselves at you, and At school, there wasn't many girls, Shaz. In fact, there was zero.
None.
There
Alright.
was zero.
Hard to believe.
There
Hard
was
to believe.
there, maybe now, but like
Yeah.
zero. So like
Aw.
all of that attention and you know, and like I said, it wasn't easy for me at school. So all of this was kind of like, you know, you grow up as a lad and you're talking with your mates. You watch Wiz Khalifa day to day on YouTube, and you see, you know, he's smoking big joints and he's got heaps of cash, heaps of girls, and
Yeah.
that's what me and my mates like. That was the dream, you know. Like, so I went in and was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go."
Yeah.
And you know, it was very interesting because my mates at the time, like, I was like, "I'm gonna bring you with me all the way up." And so we had these. I had a couple mates who did some pretty unforgivable things to me, and so then I kind of found myself not with these people that I'd grown up with, now thrown into these circles with all this attention, all of this stuff that really no person is designed to be able to handle off the bat. Like, I'm sure in your own way you know what I'm talking about. There's
Yeah.
so much, you know, when everyone tells you you're the man and you're 20 years old and you're pissed.
Yeah.
You start to believe it.
100%.
You know, so it was a very interesting time for me, and you know, obviously a lot's changed since then, but back in those days it was a baptism by fire for sure.
What do you mean by like unforgivable things to you?
I had a friend that he was talking shit about me when I was away in Dunedin, and it was pretty bad, and then so I forgave him, and there was there was one night when I was in Stockholm in Sweden,
Yeah.
and I sent a picture to 3 or 4 of my mates, him being one of them, with a girl out in the town in Sweden, and he decided to send it to my girlfriend on some trying to sleep with her shit. So
And you weren't?
hey,
You weren't trying to sleep with her?
oh no, like he was trying to sleep with my
Oh, he was trying to sleep with your girlfriend,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
okay.
And so obviously, you know, I'm not proud of
Yeah.
that at all. But you know,
So he sure shanked you.
yeah,
He kind of
essentially.
chipped away.
Yeah, and so basically, I didn't believe that this guy could do it. So I was looking at my other 3 mates that I sent it to, and I was like, like,
Which one are you?
which one are you? But it was obviously this dickhead. So yeah, I mean, there was something like, you know, there's one thing with my other mate that I definitely can't talk about.
Okay.
But yeah, it's which was to do with another past income source.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, there was some for me at the time, again, like, you know, you got to imagine who I was at this time, a very like high on my own supply sort of guy. So, whoa, rhymes.
High on my own.
Bars.
Yeah, it's good, it's good. No, but that's totally a thing though. And I kind of like, now you're talking about it, I kind of vaguely like remember you going through, like, I would see you coming in for interviews and you'd be like, dang, that guy's definitely been on a bender like the night before. Like, not that you were bad or anything, but you could definitely just see it in your eyes that there was stuff going on. I think that's why I always was really nosy with you and be like, hey, what's up with you? Like, especially when you would, because you have this thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, where you disappear.
Yes.
When you're having a crappy time.
Yes.
So like you'll be like, woo! And then all of a sudden you're just gone. Like all your Instagram posts are gone. You're not posting any stories. You've just disappeared from the whole world. Is that something you do on purpose or?
Yeah, it's something that I still like battle with, to be honest. Like even to this day, it's like I definitely have had like some times where it was I like really had to look at myself in the mirror, like almost crisis levels. You know, there's been like 2 or 3 sort of big periods where it's like, for me, it was just so bad that like I really had to like, you know, like take stock. And I feel like, you know, I am an open book in the sense of like I'll talk about anything that's been asked to me, but at those stages, like I just didn't even want to like portray myself to the world. I don't want to be like Mitch James. I just wanted to be Mitch and look at my own shit and face it. You know, there's been some like, you know, chapters that have been really important like for my self growth, because I've been at rock bottoms, you know, like pardon me, mugs.
Mugs, COVID mugs.
But yeah, you know, like I wasn't really, I fell out with my family when I was a lot younger, and I didn't really.
And before you like became
Yes.
Mitch James?
Yeah, and so it only sort of, that only sort of, we started piecing that back together when I found out my mum was sick, which was when like I started being that guy. And so it was, you know, like I bring that up because like I'd always dealt with shit on my own.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that in these times where I do go AWOL, quiet, it's a defense mechanism in the sense like I just need to look after myself and really challenge myself. Like I'm not just sitting home crying, like I'm sitting at home going like, man, like you're not good enough right now. Like you need to be better. And so yeah, I still don't know if that's the right thing to do, but sometimes it's just what I have to do. And yeah, I mean I've disappeared for years at a time, and I know it's probably not great for my fans, but you know it gets me to these places like now where I'm well and I'm clear and I can make the music that can help people because I've been through that shit.
Yeah, because I think that is a thing, like, we've been talking about this, you know, recently, like the people I work on the radio show with, I've been doing it for 17, 18 years, and it's their first couple of years. And I reckon that first couple of years is so hard because all of a sudden you've gone from being able to get steamed at a bar and have anxiety and it just be like, oh fuck, did I tell my friend that they suck or something? It's quite full on when you try and figure out like, and you can see it sometimes on Instagram with influencers and stuff where all of a sudden they're like, okay, I've had a baby, I have to show them every step of my baby's life. I have to, anything that happens to me, I have to detail it in detail of what has happened. And I think I've got to an age now where I'm like, I don't have to tell you that if I don't want to. Like, for example, Ruben had like a wild arrival of being like super premature, and heaps of people like, oh, you're going to do this birth podcast, you're going to do that. I was like, no, like it was fucking traumatizing. And I don't know if Ruben wants me to tell his story. So I just, like at the moment, I don't owe it to anybody. But I feel like you definitely go through a vibe where you feel like you owe all this stuff to your fans or whatever, but you actually don't. Yeah. You're giving enough of it in your music already?
Yeah, it's a lesson I had to learn. It's I mean, because I had a bit of imposter syndrome for a long time of like, why me? Like, there's a million guys that can sing better than me, that can play guitar better than me. Like, thank you. But, you know, like, I was like, well, yeah, like, I feel indebted to everyone that cares. And so, you know, it kind of went hand in hand with like going off the rails, I guess, because, you know, you feel like you have to live up to this. Well, I felt personally that I had to live up to this character, and you know, it's like we were saying before about, you know, the lad's dream of like being this big old rock star and doing all these drugs and having all these girls and stuff. Like, you feel like you have to be a character, and I got so lost in my own character that, yeah, like I don't even really identify with that person like in the slightest. So, you know, and that's why, you know, the last few years have been so like formative for me and like changing, and again, like what we talked about, having to take that time off and really reflect. But yeah, it's I mean, I have a really funny relationship with social media because I absolutely adore my fans, you know, like they're the reason why I get to do what I love, but I just feel so uncomfortable with sharing my personal life because it's like you're saying, like I reveal so much, especially in this album, I reveal so much about my personal life. Yeah. Like things that I would even never that guy would never be comfortable with sharing on social media, that I feel like that should be enough. And I actually saw Ed Sheeran talk about, he's like, you know, when I see someone post like a selfie on Instagram and all of that, like I actually feel for them and like want to reach out to them and say like, are you having an okay day? Because you know, like he's like, I'm on here and I'm promoting my music. It might be a little bit of an extreme view, but you know, it's like I understand what he's saying in the sense of like, it's not all it's cracked up to be, and I really battle
Oh,
with I really
100%.
battle with that because, you know, people might look at me and think like, you're a successful musician, like your life must be the shit, and
Yeah.
it's not.
And people think you have one song on the radio, so you must be a millionaire or like
Yes.
endless
Oh my
amounts of
God.
money and
Yeah.
things like that.
I went through that phase
Yeah.
too. Like,
Where all your friends expect you to pay for everything because they think you have this like wild job. Yeah.
yeah, you know, like I might even look down the barrel for this one. You don't get much money from your song on the radio, okay?
It's all on the tour. Go to the tour.
Yeah, please go to the tour. Please.
Because that's the thing that like people don't really understand. Like if you sign a record deal, sometimes it can be, unless you're just doing distribution, like some Kiwi bands do that do earn quite a lot of money. So
Yeah.
But you know, like where you
Can confirm.
if you are just like signing a record deal, sometimes it can be like signing a home loan but without a deposit, right?
Yes, I mean, when I signed my deal, I was homeless. So,
Actual way, you were living on the streets and stuff.
yeah, well, at that time I wasn't living on the streets. I was crashing on my mates' couches in Dunedin. But the years before that, there was quite a few nights where I'd slept on the street. A lot of nights in hostels, a lot of nights on mates' couches, just everywhere. And I actually lived like, I think it was like 2 or 3 months in a 1997 Subaru Legacy with no
Nice.
waffle reg.
Oh gosh.
Bang. Yeah, and
Whoa.
so it was, and yeah, like I said, I wasn't talking to my family, and I kind of lost track of what the question was.
Me too. No, I was saying when you sign a record deal.
Oh, record deal,
It can be
yes.
like signing like a home loan where people
Yeah.
don't realize that you sign the record. People think you sign a record deal and you get paid all this money, but you actually sign the record deal, get a little
Yeah.
bit of money maybe, and a massive amount of debt that you have to pay back.
I didn't realize what I was getting into, because at the end of the day, like, I had no idea about the music industry. I was just a kid with a dream who wanted to, you know, play Wembley Stadium, and so a record deal for me was the ticket there. And I don't regret signing my record deal because without my label, like, I wouldn't be where I am, and that's the facts. Yeah, it's just a very interesting like process, and there's a lot more information about it now that like wasn't available when I was, you know, sort of about to sign.
And it's not just like musicians in New Zealand. Like you look at, you know, just in the past month with Khalees, who had one of the biggest songs in the year.
My milkshake
Things
brings
are the
me
best
to
in the
the
yard,
and they're like, what?
Yeah, one of the like that song's iconic. Like it's such a great song. But she doesn't own the rights to it, like Pharrell does. And she was just like a, you know, even people like Khalees, Taylor Swift, all those sorts of people, they sign these record deals and they think, okay, sweet, I've made it. But they've actually not realized what they've got themselves into. Because it is a business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I was saying before, begging for people to come to my tour. That's how I make my money, and it's it's a trade-off for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think for me, I mean, I have to view it this way, otherwise I'll go insane. But it's like a means to an end. Like if I get this music out and the promotion machine behind it spreads it to the world, then I get to play it to the world. And it's never really been about money for me. Like, money's great and we all need it to live.
Yeah.
But for me, the opportunity to play this music to every single person that gets to hear it is the main thing for me. And so, like, yeah, it's definitely
It's a lot
trade-off.
easier if you make money. You don't have to go like,
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
countdown in between.
I wish that I knew what I was doing when I signed it, so I might have had another zero on it.
Yeah.
There's just, I was young, dumb, and broke. Yeah.
Young, dumb.
Khalid,
young,
it's all
broke.
happening.
Ironically, the person that wrote and produced that song was once young, dumb, and broke, Joe Little, and now
he is not.
Now he is not. But the thing is that, like, and then you look at it, like your Instagram post the other day, like, can you explain how that kind of stuff works? Because you even see, you know, massive pop stars like Katy Perry and stuff, they go and play the album to the execs or whatever, and they're like, nah, or you have to release this song or whatever. So it's kind of like you put your heart and soul in something that then becomes business. So you had made an entire album before this one, and then that one was like, what happens there?
So I had moved. My record label was in New Zealand.
Yeah.
greatest team in the world, the New Zealand team.
They are.
And
Not because they're sitting here.
no comment. But I'd moved over to Australia, and there was a brand new team there for me, and so they didn't understand. They didn't understand like me essentially, and the process that I'd been through, and how much work and shit had gone into it. And to be honest, like I'm just not sure if like they really gave a fuck.
Yeah.
And so it was, and looking back, you know, like if I released that album that had got rejected, like it's got absolutely nothing on this new one.
Oh,
like
this new album's incredible.
Thank you, Shaz. Yeah, it's and so like in a lot of ways it was a total blessing in disguise. But I was just so hungry to get it out, you know, like because I went and disappeared for a while, and I felt like indebted to my fans, and I wanted to give them something and to be like, you know, like, I haven't forgotten about you. I still care about you. I know I'm not on here posting every day, but like I'm so grateful. And yeah, it was very hard for me, but it lit a fire in my belly, and it made me work harder. And I think you can either wilter under the pressure and be like, oh, fuck this, I'm giving up. Like, no one fucking gets it, blah, 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 blah. Or you can be like, you know what? Like, I'm going to fucking show you, and this next album, you're going to be its biggest fan, and you're going to sell it to the world. And that's kind of what happened. And yeah, it's, in terms of like playing it to the execs, like it's got to get through a bunch of hoops to even get to that stage. And my A&R guy in Australia, bless him, he's just like, he just said like, nah, bro. Like, it didn't even get as far
like
as
no constructive criticism. It was just like, nah.
It was a flat no. Yeah. So it was, you know, there was a lot of self-cursing. But again, like I made the decision to just fucking get after it. And and then you have to go through a bunch of hoops. And then once it got to the execs, he was on the call as well. And, you know, he was smiling his ass off because he knew that he'd pushed me to a place that would finally got it. And I fucking hated him for so long. I fucking hated him. But now he's my boy. Just because, you know, we got there.
But you need those people that kind of push you in a constructive way, you know, like my radio tutor, Jimmy Stewart, he failed me on my announcing exam 3 times at radio school. Not because I failed, but because I could do better. And he was like, you can do better than that. Yeah. You can get a better mark than that. I was like, well, just fucking pass me. I just want to finish this course. Like,
yeah.
Kidding me?
It's essentially the exact same mindset,
they
you know.
troll you.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get the best out of you. What star sign are you?
Yeah, Cancer.
Oh no, okay. I was gonna say maybe we're both Capricorns and that's why. But it's like it is like a really bizarre thing. And like now you're there, like what do you do with those songs? Do they just control it, delete it from your life, or they? Pretty
much, yeah. I mean, like I have a publishing company that pitches them to other artists, but no one wants them apparently. Maybe they are shit.
All good. So talking about the new album, you finally, you know, you got around it. You went through a lot of stuff, which we're going to break down. But Home is Lonely, one of the tracks on the album, because you sent me it when some of the tracks were still demos and things like that. And I was sitting in my car listening to it, and I was like live texting you my feedback. And I heard Home is Lonely and just burst into tears. It was just, I don't know if it was because I'm a mother or what it was, but what does your, like, I know that you guys are kind of, you know, better relationship now, but like, what does your family feel like when they read these songs, like hear these songs and read the lyrics and stuff? It must be, like if I heard my son sing the lyrics, like in Home is Lonely, I would just die inside.
So my family, if they ever see this, is gonna hate me because I haven't sent them the album yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it. Yeah. A rumor I heard.
Well, I send it to people that are like, you know, I obviously really care about your opinion on music and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, Home is Lonely is, I mean, we've kind of talked about previously my friends, my ex-friends, I guess, and what they did to me, and that was a lot of the inspiration behind that song. And, you know, like I was young, rosy tinted glasses, and I had these massive dreams, and you know, like, how do I put it, like I wanted this so bad, and I was so disillusioned by the world not having big dreams like I did, and I felt so on my own not only going out and chasing it, but when everything started to go right for me, and obviously I was burying myself in drugs and alcohol and girls because I was so sad, but you know, coming home and everything being so different, and now this place that I've grown up in my whole life is like the loneliest place that I could be in. It's such a sad realization, because like we've talked about this lad dream, and like you think that it's like you wake up and there's like 15 texts from different people being like, hey, you want to hang out today? Like, fucking hey, you're the man, bro. It's like, it's the complete opposite.
So you go home and your family don't kiss your ass because they know you.
Yeah.
From like when you used to shit yourself as a baby, not as an adult. But I would feel like that, like when I were like obviously completely different jobs, but it's that thing where you have a text machine at work which can validate you, or Instagram, and then you go home and, you know, like even rang my sister on the radio show yesterday, and she's like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, you know, it's kind of like it feels lonely because you go home and you're just getting kind of like, clean the fucking kitchen. It's
not all it's cracked up to be. And that's like it's an intense realization, because in a sense you're getting into this because you want validation in the first place. And I think any artist that says they're not looking for validation is lying.
Yeah.
Because why else do you do it and you don't just sing to yourself? Like, no, you want validation. And like I said earlier, it was a very big thing for me. And so now that I'm 27 and I have like a bit of self-actualization and awareness, I definitely realize that, like, you know, a lot of the last 3-4 years have been all by myself. And it's brutal, because I thought this was going to be the cure to my loneliness, but in fact it was a loneliness multiplier.
Yeah.
When you start to judge yourself off of the results that you're getting in your career, it's a very dangerous place.
Yeah.
And I think I've only really, probably in the last 6 months, actually really got into a healthy place with it and gone, you know what, like, if this doesn't work, like, I couldn't be prouder of the work that I've done for this album and what it means to me and what it represents. And I can still look in the mirror and be proud of myself, whereas I couldn't do that for a very, very long time. You know, when things were going great, because they were going great, all of my self-worth and ego was inflated because of these results. And like, things are, you know, when you've never even been to fucking, I think it's like Poland or something, like one of my songs went gold or platinum there, and it's like, you know, that person is like, yeah, bro, like, I'm fucking golden,
I got a
fucking
song in Poland.
It's you might feel great at the time, but it doesn't last forever, and it's not something that's very healthy to base your self-worth off. And like, that's why, it's been like quite a big journey for me to like find some real peace in myself without that, and without basing it off that.
And because you have like a bit of a relationship with Ed Sheeran after playing shows with him, he's like your hero and things like that. Has he been helpful in any way, or is he like shit at replying?
Yeah, he's the best at replying. He's replied to every single thing I've ever sent him, but it's more like me. I kind of look up to him so much that I want to use my chits very carefully.
Oh, 100%. You don't mean want to be the Punisher.
Yeah, my mum always hits me up and she's like, I love my mum. She's like, oh, you should ask him about, like, when I'm having problems. She's like, you should ask him about it. I'm like, I'm not gonna ask Ed Sheeran about my breakup, mum. Fuck, it's Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
But you know, and mum's always like, we gotta get him over for a salmon dinner one day. I'll cook him some salmon. I was like, I've had 3 girlfriends. So yeah, the first one was, we met before it all started popping off, and I fucked things up because you know, my ego got a bit out of control, and you know, we haven't talked in like 4 years, but you know, I got literally nothing but love for her. She's an angel. And after that happened, that was probably the most important phase of my life after that, because I really did love her, but I was just a fucking mess, and I was just a walking contradiction in so many ways, and Yeah, so I took that big break from everything, really. I still look back on it as the most important time of change in my life, because I had to look at myself and be like, you can't be that person. Like, if you continue to be that person, you're going to die very fat. very,
It wasn't fat.
but, you know, you're going to die alone. Like, no one... I felt like special rules applied to me at the time.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm playing shows, I'm on the radio, whatever. Like, I felt like special rules apply. They don't apply to anyone, no matter who you are. And so I really had to look in the mirror and reflect. And so I took a big break from women after that. And then I moved to Australia. I'd moved record labels, and this was just before COVID. And you know, there was a lot of promises and a lot of empty promises in the end. But yeah, I'd moved there, and I was there for about 9 months, and it was a long 9 months. I mean, there's only so much playing PlayStation and smoking weed a man can do, and it was very long. And yeah, I started talking to a girl on Instagram, and you know, I fell in love with her, and then we were together for probably, I moved back to New Zealand for her. I was in Australia for those 9 months, and yeah, I saw a beautiful girl, followed me on Instagram. And
Did you slide into her DMs?
No, I did technically, but she followed me first.
So she followed you.
Yeah, she
because
followed
she
me.
may have liked Sunday morning, and then you were like,
Yeah, probably. Probably just, I like your music. I like your face.
and everything.
Yeah.
Also has a great personality. I will
Yes,
say.
you know, she does. Yeah, and so I look, we were like messaging like non-stop, watching The Bachelor remotely and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I fell in love with her, and then moved back to New Zealand for her. And yeah, we were together for like like a year or so, and then the aftermath lasted about the same, I guess. But
She was the first girlfriend I've ever seen you post.
yeah, that's a good point to talk about. Again, like if we go back to Captain Ego, like I wanted people to think that I was single so they could like my music more, and that's like, I hate that. Like,
That's a classic music industry thing. I remember like someone,
but I hate
like a
that,
pop
you
star at
know?
the start had to her record label made her take off her wedding rings, and she had to pretend she was single and she was married.
Yeah, I hate that, and like I really despise that about my old self, because like, I mean, it's gross, really. You know, like you should be showing off your partner no matter what, and you should be proud of it. And I remember, both of my old girlfriends grilling me about it, and I probably just said some bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not exactly proud of that. But yeah, like I did the old post with my last partner. But yeah, I think you can kind of see like it was like a very slow growth. But you know, I think I just had to stop thinking about what other people expected from me, and just like be myself. And yeah, like
you guys
know,
are a very good looking couple.
Thank you.
Very good looking.
But yeah, like, and you know, whoever the lucky gal is next, like, you know, I'll be spamming mofos with that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, it's also like a fine line too, because if you let people in for the relationship, you have to
within
let
reason.
them in for the breakup. So it's like,
yeah.
I
Hey,
was
what are you saying?
no,
My
I'm
next
just saying.
girl's my
I don't
wife.
I'm just saying, I don't want to see you on fucking Women's Day in a turtleneck, being like, I'm so in love, I found the one, and then you've got to go, oh,
Hey,
my
if they pay, hey, Women's Day, hit me up.
No, but that is a thing though. And then like when you're in a relationship, and then you like, I listen to these songs and I'm like, well, I know who that song's about.
Yeah.
Do you have to give them do you give them the courtesy heads up to be like, hey, I know we may not be on good terms right now, but just so you know, I've written this song about you. It's really good, but
No, I haven't.
You just
I
let
haven't.
them listen and assume.
Yeah, well, so there's a couple songs on this album about my first girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she don't want to talk to me. So,
Even now?
I haven't tried for a very long time, but there's a couple songs about her, but like they're all like, they come from a very good place. And even with my last relationship, here's the burp. There it is.
Bastard. It's running drinks.
Uncut, uncensored. Yeah, and I did let my last girlfriend know about a couple of the songs on there, but again, they were positive ones. Actually, they're all kind of positive songs. Like, it would have been very easy, like, from my experience, considering the aftermath, to like shit on this girl, but
Yeah.
she's a very nice girl at heart,
Yeah.
and you know, in relationships, just shit happens. So like, there's a song in there called "Those Were the Days," and like I said, it would have been very like easy to be like, "Oh fuck you," blah blah blah. But you know, we had some really amazing times and like some really special memories, and so that song, "Those Were the Days," is basically framing it in a really positive way. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't sent her that song. Like, yeah, we're not talking, but it's, yeah, like, it's actually like I feel like I've got
Don't
to
you
such
worry
a place.
though that like if you wrote like, so you're saying like your first girlfriend, you wrote like songs that are like quite nice about them. Don't you worry that like the wrong girl's gonna think the wrong songs about her? Because that's what I worry about.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no. Well, that's, like I got an ex-boyfriend, a couple of ex-boyfriends that were in bands, and I mean not good ones, but like I remember him writing a song, and I was like, this song is definitely about me.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it is or not, but
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've got to a place in my life where like I don't feel like there's much point in like shitting on people, like, because it's all like very personal. Like all the women that I've been with are like great people.
Yeah.
And so it's all just things that have happened between us. So it's like I don't feel there's any point in being like you're a shit person because
Yeah.
they're not. So yeah, I'm like okay in the sense of like I can deal with the negativity myself, and I can still put out like a very like thoughtful and like productive song for other people to listen to as well without having to go full T-Swizzy on them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, like, referring to, like, Ed Sheeran again, on the top of my head, the only time I can think of him writing a negative song about an ex-girlfriend would be the Ellie Goulding Don't track.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the only one that got so much attention, he was probably like, oh, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a interesting thing, because I'm always like that, like, if you dated a musician, you'd be like, oh, fuck, I hope we don't break up, because, like,
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be a bad time, you know?
I have
But I mean,
I
it was
have
good.
written some songs that just
Yeah.
won't get there. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, and more as like therapy for myself.
Yeah.
But
there's also
you'd
like,
actually love one. You'd
Well,
love one of them.
oh my god, please send me a
Yeah,
love
yeah.
a breakup song.
Yeah. But otherwise, I feel like I just want to be in a position of like positivity, especially for my fans as well, because I don't want to be like a beacon of like
Yeah.
shit. Like, I want people to like love each other and all of that jazz. So.
Yeah, but I mean, Alanis, Jake a Little Pill. Like, everyone loves a good breakup song every
Yeah.
now and then, you know?
It's like rain.
On your wedding day.
Rerun.
What a jam.
Oh, see, we've been working on our pipes.
We have.
Yeah,
like, I'm not going to record it because I don't want people to be like, oh, Mitch, you should have got Sharyn on there for a duet. Now, let me look and see if I've missed anything that I wanted to ask you about. Oh, do you ever feel like this is a quick fire question, do you ever feel like a girl's hooked up with you purely to get a song written about her?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been a few that, you know, I've been like
Yeah.
whatever, you reckon.
Yeah.
I did have an experience.
Someone gave you some mad mish, and then afterwards they're like, write a song about this called Best Missionary of Your Life.
Sheesh. I did have an experience like rather recently. Okay, we'll be honest. And yeah, like I met this girl, and I had a crush on her.
Yeah.
And I can't go TMI because it is quite TMI.
Yeah.
But let's just okay. I'm trying to figure out the words to not be gross here.
Okay.
But
Talk about it in a sense that it's a sandwich and some condiments, if that helps.
that does not help.
Okay.
So like we like spent a night together, and
Yeah.
it was super weird. Cause
She shat on you.
no, I wish. Nah, jokes.
Keep that in. Keep that in. That's a hell of a teaser.
Yeah.
Put that in the teaser. Mitch James shat on by groupie.
Yeah. So yeah, like she basically like admitted to me that like she just wanted to like have some fun like with a famous person or whatever, and I don't know why. I still had a crush on her for some reason. I'm a sucker. And then like we went on a few more dates, and then like I guess she got what she wanted, and then she was just like,
Write a song about it.
no deal.
Oh.
Yeah, and you know, like I'm not saying that she wants me to write a song about it. I don't think she does. She's actually quite a cool girl to hang out with. But yeah, like those kind of experiences like are fucking annoying because like, you know, I'm no longer that fat. You know, I'm no longer that little hoe. Like I went through that phase, and you know, I'm been seriously like I'm looking for wifey, you know, so like those experiences are like very frustrating, and like you kind of have to expect them in a way because like you have to be a realist, but you know, it is frustrating because like I am looking for something serious and someone to, you know, take around the world with me and have some, you know, special memories and stuff like that, and you know, eventually have a family and shit like that. But it's just part of the game, and it's like it's very frustrating, but it's a reality of it. And that incident is not isolated. It was just one of the more recent
Would you like me
ones.
to start vetting them for you?
I would love that, because I thought I was vetting good, but I suck.
I'll go through a clipboard and be like, okay, I'll ask some questions and find out. And I'm like, you're through to the next round.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Can we start a reality TV show?
Groupies, did you have an orgy?
No. I'm actually quite a vanilla guy.
Oh, too much going on for me. I'd be where do I put all my hands?
I'm all about
Jaden wanted me to ask that question because he's a big orgy guy.
preach, fucking
He wanted
idiot.
me to ask that one.
Yeah.
Also, I did a party tour, a reality star once who loved having a few options every night.
I'm a one gal sort of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good on you.
I didn't mean to say vanilla in that sense. I'm not that vanilla,
Hey,
but
don't
just
say that.
1v1.
If you're looking for a wife, they need to know that you know, it's more than
Yeah, no, it's just two humans.
two humans.
No, including me.
I'm too jealous of a person. I'd be
Yeah,
like,
no, me too. No,
yeah.
I don't roll like that. I'm all about the intimacy, you know.
Aw. Okay, be honest. Do you play songs for girls? Like if it's your partner or whatever, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, I know what it'll be, make this romantic, and you start like playing a song, like your Sunday morning video.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I fucking love that.
Yeah,
That's
no,
so
I
funny.
of course, yeah. I've actually, I'm not usually the one to instigate it.
Yeah.
My last girlfriend would always make me sing to her, which I kind of loved. It was kind of cute. But
Yeah.
I've had a few girls. They're just like sing to me. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, I don't have a guitar, and they're like, sing to me.
Yeah. It's
And I'm like,
okay.
yeah.
And the night has come. Yeah, it's a weird, it's a strange thing, but I feel like, I don't know if it's like a famous thing or whatever, but like, said reality star, he used to always give people one of his t-shirts the next morning. He'd be like, hey, wear that home so you don't have to wear the same outfit. And I was like, how many t-shirts?
That's not
do you
because
have?
you don't want to wear the same outfit. That's an ego thing for sure.
For sure. Oh, well, this is amazing. I feel like we've covered off so much stuff. Is there anything that you feel like we need to cover that we've missed?
No, I don't know, really. I mean, yeah, I think this album is, in this last 4
we didn't
years.
talk about the album.
Maybe we should talk about the album, Shaz.
We talked about everything but the album. Fuck. Okay, so let's talk about the album. So this album, it's very autobiographical.
Autobiographical. That's something you just need to sound it out.
Autobiographical. Yeah, that's it. So when you are like writing this, do you ever have like the anxiety of like going through it where you've written the song, you know what it's about, you know who.
Number 2.
That's 2. You know who it's about. Do you have an anxiety of it? Like, what's it like putting it out once it's finished?
Yeah, all the time. Like, I remember before I first put my first song out, No Fixed Abode, I was having anxiety attacks and I didn't know what they were, so I thought I was having heart problems.
Oh, yeah, been there.
Yeah, so, and I think it's like a very subconscious anxiety. Like, it's not like every day I'm thinking about like, oh shit, like, I really hope like it hits with people, but there definitely is, because it's like we were talking about before, you know, no matter how much you try and coach yourself out of it, there is like a little bit of value on yourself that you're attributing to the success of it. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely, it's a different kind of anxiety for this one, more so because it's more personal than I've ever been. Like, I'm talking about things that maybe I don't even have a right to like be sharing with the public. And so that's nerve-wracking in itself, because I'm not necessarily sure that people will be able to understand everything.
It is very personal. Like, it is, like, I listen to it and being like, oh man, like, I don't know if it's just because I know you or whatever, but I listened to it and was like, wow, that is like, it's just very honest and very vulnerable. Like, you should be very proud of it. I think they're definitely stories that you should be telling.
Thank you. Yeah, and those were the two words that I was going for, was honest and vulnerable as well. And yeah, I think if people can find their own way of interpreting it, that's like success for me. It's not so much the numbers and the plaques anymore. Like, that's all great and fun at the end of the day. But for me, it's like, how many like people can I touch like in that way? And so that's where it's been so much different to.
I'm so glad you ended on in that way.
How many people I can touch.
Hell of a track.
Yeah, and so I think the anxiety is more of, I just hope it's accepted in the way that it's intended to be delivered.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about, like, as you know, you've heard it, it's all about, here, have all of my shit. If you can.
It's like listening to someone's therapy session.
Yeah, like this is probably listening to
someone's therapy session. But it's like listening to someone's really catchy therapy session.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And I listened to it and I couldn't even pick singles off it because every song was so good.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm not just saying that because you're sitting there. Like, I genuinely listened to it and was like, holy shit, like, you've outdone yourself. Like, it's beautiful. And there was like even songs on there. I think I text you and I was like, I know this is a demo, but don't you dare touch it. Like, I can't remember what song that was. I can look at it on
Japan,
my phone.
I think.
Yeah, and it was like, don't touch that. Like, it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
You did though, didn't you?
I did, yeah, I did. But we made it better.
Oh yeah, what was it?
Yeah. I mean, that song's great. That song's about my first girl, and there's so much honesty in it, and like I said, I think I just want it to be received in the way it's intended. And like, I mean, people can say whatever they want about me or this album, but I know that I've given it my all, and like, I couldn't have done this album without, completely losing myself in the process, and fucking things up and hurting people and hurting myself. Like, I and all the other fucking shit that's gone on with my personal life. I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. I know it's cliche as fuck, but I really do believe that, and I couldn't have got there without all of this. So to be at that crossroads with 3 rejections from the label, and to be at that crossroads of like, am I going to do this? Am I going to go back to like myself, or am I going to try and be the man again? And like, if I went down that wrong turn, like, I guarantee you that I would have been a one album wonder. And so I'm just really excited for people to, get in touch with me again, the real me, and that hasn't been able to happen for a while. So I'm excited, a little bit nervous, but I'm really proud. Like, I'm really genuinely proud of this album, and it's it's one of those ones where it's like, take it or leave it. If this is too much for you, it's probably just because you're not in touch with your emotions.
Your feelings, yeah. I definitely think, and I'm not saying this because you're sitting here, you absolutely should be so proud of this album. It is so beautiful. And like, I'm trying to remember the exact lyric in Home is Lonely, but I feel like there's this one bit in it when you were like, I can't remember if you were saying home is so fucking lonely or I'm so fucking lonely, but it's like, the way that you said it was
it
like...
fucking kills me to say it.
Yes!
I had to lose you to change me.
Yes! Yeah. And like, when you said it, I was like, oh my God! I like cried. I can't remember the last album I cried listening to. It was, honestly, it's so beautiful, and we are so thankful to have had you here on the QT rooftop with us.
Yes, I'm so glad we finally did it.
We did it!
Hell yeah!
Mitch James uncut. Let's go.
Love ya.